Hi renovators, so thanks for tuning in. Today we're going to talk about a different approach to DIY for a profitable property project. So we'll start by looking at the traditional approach. So a traditional approach to DIY is obviously to do a lot of things yourself in order to reduce your costs, okay? And the thought is obviously you're going to make more money at the end of the project. But traditional approach of DIY, of looking at like painting and other tasks that should be done by trades, it has some big issues. So the first is the time frame and the profit. You know, everyone thinks they're going to make more money by doing the DIY tasks. But realistically, if you want to turn these projects over quickly, you need to be the project manager. You need to have other people doing the tasks. You know, we've done our renovations in 4 to 6 weeks. It would have been impossible to do that in 4 to 6 weeks with us doing the physical work, right? So if you can do a project in 4 to 6 weeks and make $40,000 or $50,000, you know, you might be able to do 4 of them in a year. But if you do it yourself, you know, you're probably only going to do 1 in a year. So over the course of a year, you know, it's 200,000 to 40,000. Depends how much you want to make, really. It's also the quality of finish. Look, DIY obviously differs. Some is horrible, some is very good. But in general, quality of finish is going to be better from a licensed tradesman. So, you know, when you're wanting to sell your property at that premium price, and people are picking out little bits and pieces of paint or other workmanship that's not good, it's gonna seriously hurt your chances of selling at a premium price or in your area. The next point is the certification and the paperwork. Obviously, if you do everything by yourself, you don't have any paperwork. You don't have any certification. And this can cause a lot of problems when you try and sell the house. I'll give you an example from our last project. The house had a lot of termite damage, like a hell of a lot of termite damage. And we had a builder in. He replaced all of the termite damaged parts, all of the bits and pieces, the beams and the stuff in the ceiling. And then we had a company come in and insert a termite barrier or a termite baiting system, which had a $200,000 warranty. So prior to the building and pest inspection, I preempted it with the buyer and I told her there was a lot of termite damage. I told her we had a builder come in. I showed her the documentation, the quote, and obviously the payment to the builder. I showed her the insurance. And then I also showed her the documentation from the termite company and the warranty against termite damage. Now, that meant when the building and pest guy came through and he pointed out that there was probably termite damage in the house, she didn't panic, she didn't ask for price reduction, she just continued because she was already expecting it and we'd already given her the paperwork. Now, if there was no paperwork, I don't know how she would have reacted. Probably not as easily as she did. The last point is, how much is your time worth to you? You know, the whole point of doing this business, getting into this business, is to make your life better. So if you're spending every weekend sitting on one of your sites, pulling tiles out of the ground or painting and not spending time with your family and your kids, you know, what's the point? To me, it doesn't really have much of a point. So to me, the traditional approach is not really the best way to go when you're looking at getting into renovations and making it a proper business, you know, to build and to scale. So what is the Hooper Holmes approach to DIY? Well, point 1, you need to be the world's best project manager. You are the glue that sticks the project together. You have to have fantastic systems and you have to be organized. You have to stick to your systems. And you have to make sure that everything is done on site when it's meant to be done. You know, if you need to order tiles, for instance, they need to be ordered by this date. If they're not, and your tiler turns up to do the job, he's going to be extremely annoyed, you know, potentially push your job back weeks, potentially cancel your job, which is going to be an absolute headache for you. So you need to make sure everything's on site. Another example would be not having, and this is one that mistake that we've made ourselves, not having the skip on site on day 1. which then means that all the trades come in, rip stuff out, throw it on the floor, and guess who has to clean that up? Yeah. So point number 2, you have to be an analyst extraordinaire. You need to learn how to analyze properties, how to research properties, and you need to have a system to compare prices so that you can find the good properties. You make your money when you purchase a property. It's as simple as that. You know, if let's say you buy a property for $400,000. So if you're off by 10%, right, you pay $440. That 10% is your entire renovation budget. So if you buy well and you find a good property and you pay a good price, you can afford to make some mistakes later, because that's where the big money is. If you pay 15% of extra or more than you should on that purchase price, you know, that could be $50,000. That could be your entire profit margin. So you have to be you have to get very, very good at in-depth analysis of properties, and you have to have a good system in place to allow you to compare these properties and value them against other properties. And the third point is something that is obviously debated by a lot of people, but for our system, it's a necessity. You need to learn to sell your own homes. Now, please understand that we hold a lot of respect for real estate agents. We think they have a massive part in the industry. You know, for instance, if you're selling your principal place of residence, you should probably do it through an agent, because you're not going to be able to separate the emotion from the sale, because it's your home. There's a lot of places where agents are should be used, but when you're renovating a property and your profit margin is $3,000 to $50,000, you know, can you afford to pay a real estate agent $10,000 to $20,000? It could be more than 25 or 30% of your profit margin. From what we've found, it's very difficult to make a project feasible and make good money when you have to pay a real estate agent their fees to sell the property. So how do you go about selling you know, your own projects? Well, you start with a bit of education. Start reading some books. There's a good book I have here somewhere. So it's by Terry Ryder. We're in no way affiliated with this at all. It's just a good book to read. It's called Real Estate Without Agents. So that's a pretty good place to start. That's where I started. You know, approach it like a business. Start with your staging, obviously. Get the property ready and prepared, and then go to one of the online websites, the for sale by owner websites. We use a company called realprivate.com.au. Again, not affiliated with them, but they do a fantastic service. They offer their online service will get you onto Domain and realestate.com and a number of other little websites. It's under $500, and they actually offer a call center service, which is fantastic. So if you're working in your day-to-day job, you can't answer the phone obviously all the time. So they'll have a call center that'll take the call, take the details, forward the call to you, and email you the details. So if you miss the call, you can call them back later, which is fantastic. You need to treat the transaction as what it is. It's a business transaction. You need to remove the emotion from the transaction. If you can't remove your emotion from the negotiation, you may as well just go get a real estate agent, because you're probably going to make a mistake. It's probably going to cost you a lot of money. You know, get some brochures, get maybe a sign, get some business cards. Remember, you're treating this as if you were a real estate agent. Make sure you wear business attire. Don't turn up to an open home or an inspection in thongs, shorts, and a t-shirt, because you're not giving the right message. You know, when I sell my properties, most of the time, the people who I'm taking through the home do not know that we own the properties, because I turn up and I act like a real estate agent, and that's what you should be doing. Make sure that you collect information from everyone that comes through. Have a little form, you know, name, email, maybe some notes, how long they've been looking, you know, your own notes, whether they're interested or not, and then make sure you follow up. You know, if you have an open home on the Saturday, follow up by the Tuesday, just to check what's going on. You know, they might say, no, I'm not interested. They might say, oh, we are interested, we'd like to have another look. You have to follow up because people are busy. People have other things going on. So you need to make sure that you're on top of it. Make sure you stick to your systems when you're selling. Have your systems down pat. Have everything written down and stick to it. Because if it works, you don't want to be going off and doing different things. Maybe at the start you'll be trying different methods and different ideas, but once you get something that works, stick to it. And the last point when you're selling your own property is never ever go below your walkaway price. Start by setting a walkaway price, as in the lowest price that you will happily accept, and you never ever go below that. I mean, that's in all negotiations, not just selling a property. If you start to go below your own walkaway price, it puts it in your head, and you'll end up always getting less than that price that you want. So it's a really, really bad habit to start. So that's it for this week. Please don't forget to follow our Instagram and Facebook, as well as signing up for our email list. We have something that we've been working on that we're really, really excited about. That's coming soon. It's going to help, hopefully help a lot of new budding renovators. So make sure you sign up to our email list, as we will be giving all of our subscribers a chance to get really good early bird specials on it. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll see everyone next week.